government at the state level as well as county or local level. And reaffirm and reestablish some of those constitutionally protected rights that we expect to enjoy as citizens. And I'll tell you, the opposition is organized and it is constant. So get involved, come up, tell your representatives and your senators exactly what you expect from them, and be there to be a counterbalance to forces that want to continue to expand government's control over your life and intrusion into your personal affairs. I'm happy to answer questions. I'm looking forward to a good discussion, so let's get to it. Joe?
Thank you very much, representatients. Does anybody have a question? If you do, please raise your hand. I'll try to get as many of you as I can. Let me just go right back here.
Hi, my name is Vaughn Mayo. I appreciate what Representative Green just said. So I'd like to ask the other two representatives a question along that line. When issues come up there in Salt Lake, you as our legislators, are you willing to separate yourself from the bureaucratic employees to represent us as people and our interests? One representative talked about the budget. I have a great concern about a certain thing regarding property taxes and that they're out of control. And I get the impression that it would shake up the boat for them to modify the tax code here in Utah to be more equitable and fair and less socialistic than it is now. So are you standing up for the people, or are you bowing to the concerns of county assessors and those people?
Which proposal are you talking about regarding? I'm not aware of that proposal. This is Senator Howard Stevenson, by the way. We've just been joined by him. Is there a particular proposal that you're referencing?
I believe that Representative Green is working on one right now.
It's not one yet. It's going to be committee yet.
Oh, okay.
Trying to get it through, but it's running into roadblocks.
So, interestingly, we were talking earlier that the reality behind leadership, I see two dynamics with that. One is finger to the wind, Bill Clinton type, I'll just do whatever the majority of people want. The other dynamic is I feel strongly that this is the right thing to do, and I need to move forward as a leader to do that thing that I need to do. So we end up passing usually around 600 bills, and without knowing particularly which one you reference, the reality for me is that when it's morally necessary and right, I'll stand by those principles. And there have been many times that I've been one of just a few that voted against the concept that was being proposed. And there are other times where it's kind of a matter of how much money do you want to put into this issue, and it's not really good versus evil. And in that case, people's involvement really makes a difference. So without knowing what you reference as to where should I stand, the answer is it depends on the issue that's before me.
This crazy guy even voted against the gas tax last year that most of us thought made sense. Or maybe not.
Yeah, that depends on who you are.
Could I respond to that a little bit too? I think that, there are a lot of issues that we have to tackle, and it would be nice to get them all at once, but you've only got so much bandwidth to be able to do that. So you hit them as they go. But if you have ideas as individuals, in fact, one of the bills I'm running right now to protect adoptive parents with children with special needs came from one of my constituents, and I wasn't aware of the problem, and they brought that up and said, here's some solutions that would help us. And so, working together, we've got this going. And so if you've got a specific issue that you'd like to see happen, and we're not doing it already in the legislature, just get with us. We can look at it, try to help move that along, but it's hard to know exactly what you have in mind there.
Thank you. I failed to mention, if you would like to get contact information for your representatives, you can go to www.le.gov, utah.gov, And there's a roster of all of your representatives. You can click on them, get their contact information. I would recommend you do that. Once again, that's www.le.utah.gov.
Joe? Could I recommend that we let Senator Stevenson introduce
Yes.
himself?
Senator Madsen's here as well.
So Senators Mattson and Stevenson, if you want to just, we'll let Senator Mattson get a bite to eat really quick, but if you want to just let them know who you are, who you represent, what area, and then also what's up going on up at the Hill with you, and then Nathan in the BYU shirt, he's going to raise his hand when you're about 30 seconds. We'd like to give about 2 minutes to everybody. Go
Okay,
ahead.
great. Could I get some help passing these out?
Yeah, you bet.
I'm Senator Howard Stevenson. I'm usually on Red Meat Radio from 8 to 10 on Saturday mornings. Speaker Greg Hughes and I started that show 8 years ago to help people understand what's going on in Utah politics rather than relying on the media. But I want to talk just briefly about something that is very important to folks in Utah County, particularly Alpine School District, and that is school funding equalization. We are the envy of the nation in our basic school funding called the weighted pupil unit, where we guarantee every district the same amount of dollars per student as any other district. However, there's a problem currently with the local property tax rates, and that is that it generates varying amounts per student depending on whether you have an oil field or a power plant or something, or $1 million secondary homes as Park City does. And so we have this huge disparity, as you can see from this chart that I'm having passed out. I hope there's enough, if you can kind of share that, make sure that everybody will get one. But we now need to go to the next step of equalization, and that is to ensure that every student gets the same amount of funding based on the local tax effort, rather than being based on whether you have an oil field in your district. As you can see from this chart, Alpine is not a rich district because you have so many kids and so little tax base. And as you can see, we've started to do this equalization. The green part and then the red and the blue brackets above it show how much we've been able to get equalized so far. We want to take that higher. And so Senator Lincoln Fillmore and I have come up with something we call, in addition to the weighted pupil unit, is the equity pupil unit. That means that we will ensure that based on your tax effort, you're going to be guaranteed a certain number of dollars per student so that we get more equalization. As you can see, already we've been able to bring up Alpine about double what they would already produce in their property tax. And I think that's fair. What we want to do is bring it up to the first black line over the next 6 or 8 years, and then up to that second black line over the next 15 or 20 years. That's the right thing to do. And what we're planning on doing is taking the first growth in the education fund and apply it toward the equity pupil unit before we apply it toward the weighted pupil unit. The weighted pupil unit is something our forebears had the wisdom of doing to ensure equity on the basic program. But on these local property tax programs, we believe that we need to have a similar equity. And this is a way of accomplishing it without Robin Hood, without taking from one district and giving to another, but instead of taking the statewide growth in income tax and applying the first dollar of it toward this equalization.